I am moderately functional, and I'm very excited to be talking with Katherine Smith-Rodden.
Oh, thank
Katherine,
goodness.
thank you so much for joining us this
Of
morning. It's
course.
great seeing you.
Right back at you.
Can you tell everyone out there who doesn't know you a little bit about yourself, your name, what you did in this movie, and maybe a little bit about yourself?
Yes, I am Katherine Smith-Rodden. I was Erin. A little bit about me. I'm from Virginia. I lived in the Midwest and did stuff there. And then I came out here and I act because it's fun and I draw because it's fun. And that's, that's about it.
You grew up in Virginia. I had you in like Indianapolis or something like
That's
that.
where my family is.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, cool. So what was the arc there? You were born in a small rural hospital out in the sticks in Virginia. Was that what it is?
Obviously. I don't really know. It was somewhere in Virginia. I think I was born in Norfolk, and I grew up there for like ever. And then my parents were like, "Oh, hey, we're just moving to Indiana because my dad wanted to be a professor there, and he thought it was his dream job." And so they're like, "All right, cool." So they all left, and I was like, "Guess I'm going with you," because I just had ankle surgery and I
Okay.
couldn't live on my own like where I was at because I was like,
How old were you at that point?
um, 21.
21. Okay.
Yeah. And then I went out to Indy for a little bit. I started acting there. And then I went to Chicago for a year and acted there. And then I came here.
And in Virginia, before your ankle surgery, you were like hunting and like shooting guns, or like what were you up to out there?
Yeah, that suits. I was an advertising major in school, so very much not acting.
Okay.
I thought I was going to act in high school, and then I auditioned to go to college for theater, and I botched it because I didn't memorize the monologues until like the drive up to the school to like practice. And I was like, I'm totally still gonna get it. I didn't clearly. And then I had like a teenage meltdown. I was like, I'm never doing this again. It's horrible. But then I tried to potentially do like a 9 to 5 style thing with like an internship and stuff like that. And it was, I'm not built for it. So
You were going to go work in advertising.
uh, theoretically, because like the job offers that I got were like at like a bank or something like that, which there is nothing wrong with, but it didn't. I couldn't.
I could cast you in a role as the bank teller, and it would be just a burn it to the
So
ground
much pain.
role. That's amazing. And so you strike me as someone, 4 years old. You had to have been performing for people. Is that true?
I liked acting in theater and stuff. I was dramatic as a child. I've heard many stories about how I would collapse when I was upset about something and like sob voraciously and then peek up from under my eye to make sure, from under my arm, so that everybody could watch me and
We're
make sure that
clapping.
they were paying attention. And once I clocked that they were still looking at me, I'd go back to my sobbing so I could get what I wanted or what have you.
Got you.
But I was also ridiculously shy in public settings, so not that that's changed, but still, like it's kind of a back and forth. I do feel like being on stage and performing and stuff is different than interacting with fellow people out and about.
there,
So
there there's something about that, like being in an acting class or doing theater or shooting, where you can be really really shy in real life, but there's something about like the camera and the audience and the moment where just something comes out of you and you're like, I can do this. Is
yes,
that does that resonate with you?
100%. And I also love having a script. Like, don't make me come up with my own words. You give me some of the basics to work with. I can build something that we work together. You get a lovely, talented director who can give you some feedback and give you a way to grow into, and then you can create something magical together. And I love that in particular.
I don't get lovely much. I appreciate that. That's amazing. So you moved to Indianapolis. You're thinking about your next move. What was the thing that got you here in Los Angeles?
My friend texted me and was like, "When are you going to move to LA?" And I looked it up, and there was like an artist's housing thing that had like 40 people in it. And I was packed a backpack and was like, "I guess I'll move."
To a commune with 40 people? Like,
Yeah.
okay, okay. And you looked up Los Angeles to see where it was on a map, or you?
Kind of,
Okay,
yeah. Which I actually didn't realize. That's embarrassing. I didn't realize I was in Southern California until I'd already like come
okay.
here, and then I saw it on like the airplane, and I was like, "Oh, that's cute."
And your arrival in Los Angeles, it was like welcome to the jungle, where they pull up in a bus and you get out and it's just like rock and roll everywhere. Or what was your first experience
Pretty
of LA?
much. I took an Uber, which I never took those on my own before. So I took an Uber and to the place that I was supposed to go, but there was like nobody there. So I just kind of like wandered around Echo Park for a while and like sat in random places with like my backpack and my little carry on, and eventually meandered my way back to the house and found it because it was really confusing. But That's that.
And so you came here with the intention to act.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. And so what do you do? So you get the apartment, and you sit down, you log on to Backstage, and then you just start acting. Like, how does that process work
Low
for?
key, yeah, actually, like with moving into that house, because the reason that I lived in that house was that some of the alternate houses, because they have like one of those things that was happening, or I don't know, they were like artist houses that like had certain, what's the word, amenities and stuff like that. I didn't get the one for acting. I got the music one, but like had ties to the acting house. You could like go over there and work in their self-tape studios and stuff like that. And did the whole Backstage thing. My home agency was like, we'll help you, but that didn't happen out here, which was fine because like what are they going to do? And yeah, I was submitting to random things on Backstage. I was self-submitting on Actors Access, trying to find anything, which was I don't know what site this was, but it was one of
It
them.
was Actors Access, yeah.
Was it? I didn't even know I self-submitted back then on there.
So you found the problem. You were submitting to a bunch of things.
Yeah.
You came in, you read. Was there anything about that first experience where you're like, this is different. This is what I want. Do I hate this script? I need to, I'm just looking for a job right now.
I loved the script. That
Okay.
was why I thought this was so cool. Wasn't right necessarily for me, and it was when I hadn't gotten super settled into acting yet. I hadn't like found my processes and whatnot, and it was an all new place. I'd never had an experience like that before of going in person and doing it like that. I've had, I don't know, from acting in the Midwest, it was all self tapes and stuff like that. So that's a perk of the
We did not
pandemic.
do a Zoom at first, right? This was
No,
pre-COVID.
yeah,
I had you in the Michelle Danner studio,
yeah,
and you came in and read for us.
yeah.
Yeah, that was
It
awesome.
was an experience.
Well, give me more about the experience. What was it like?
That was so long ago. That was 2019.
Yeah.
Let's see if my pea brain's still working. I had nothing memorized, even though I worked really hard on it. Like I wrote like all the backstory things, and that was when I was very into like writing every little bit down and creating the character and writing all around it and stuff like that, and then just completely blanking when you go into the room and not remembering anything. And it's like it's a character that was nothing like anything that I'd ever experienced or been like or been near, and it was rough, but it was fun and it was a good experience, and it was West Side, and I hadn't been over there before, so that was cool.
West Side. We went back and we looked at the tapes. We did an in-person audition with a bunch of people came in, and we looked at the tapes. I remember being super impressed with your performance. And what was great was that you had the sides in your hands, and I could see the sides on camera, and the sides were covered in notes. There wasn't a single space on the back of the sides that did not have notes on them. What were the notes?
Oh, part of it was like, the only thing I really remember from the notes specifically, other than just like writing anything I could possibly think of that would have to do with the character, because that too, the acting people I was with when I first came here was very much like any question. If I ask you a question and you're not prepared with an answer for it, that not that you're thinking of in this moment, that you haven't already sat down and created, then you're doing something wrong. So it was like absolutely anything I could think, like what kind of car they would have driven, what their favorite food is, what they had for breakfast that morning, and all those kinds of things. And then the one that was big in there was at the very start with Amy waking up, was it being something that freaked you out because it's like the nightmare situation and your girl's claustrophobic, and I'm like being underwater and stuff like that. That was, I think, very detailed across the back of it, just because that's freaky.
Yep. Yep. And so we go through this process and we get to the point where I'm like, man, I really want to bring you in to read for Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
There was something about Aaron
Yeah.
that you connected with. Can you
Yeah.
talk about that?
Yeah. No, she's a little weirdo. So I appreciate that with her, because you don't always get to do some of like the super I don't know what the word is, not extravagant. There's a word, flamboyant almost, but not even quite. She's just a little oddball who's like off doing her own thing solo. And so it's very much like she's a little cave person. And I appreciate that about her.
Right.
And she has a lot, she's not a bad girl at all. Like she's a sweet pea and she means well. And she's very open to other people, which I appreciate as a person. Just to get to be somebody who, even if they're not necessarily communicating in the best way, hey, they're very open to other people and they want to be friends with the other people, and they're going to figure out how to have that conversation.
Right.
So.
Are there bits of Aaron still in your life today where you think about like, you know what, I'm just going to move out to the mountains, I'm going to chop wood, I'm going to read, Mary Oliver, I'm just going to, listen to the radio?
No.
Okay. So how do you bridge that gap? So this is a person, she's like out on her own.
Hmm.
She's living in the woods. She's got nobody really. Maybe there's some old farts in town,
Yeah.
and but you're living in the big city.
Uh,
You're living in Los
uh.
Angeles. What was the connection there between those two things?
I'm outrageously introverted, but I like a big city because I feel like you get to go outside and there's people there. And so you're like, okay, that's my dose, even if I didn't actually talk to anyone. She kind of has the flip on that where there isn't really anyone, but she wants that connection. And that I would imagine that I might crave human interactions if I were in that situation. So that's probably relatable in theory.
What happens to Aaron in the movie? Where does Aaron end up in the
What
movie?
Aaron? Is there an
Is
Aaron?
there an Aaron? Where is Aaron?
Where's
Where is
Aaron?
Aaron? What do you think about that? There's a lot of like conspiracy theories bubbling up
Hmm.
online, I
So
guess. Like,
many.
what do you think happens to Aaron in the movie
I think Aaron may have existed at one point.
at one point?
At
Okay,
one point, I'm not sure she's there. I don't know. I don't think there's an Aaron quite personally.
we maybe think that Aaron might be the serial killer
Obviously,
when we first meet her.
yes,
She's so sweet. That's usually the one with the axe,
this is true.
but she turns out it's totally different.
Yeah,
Just maybe like a little bit thirsty, a little bit a little bit unprepared for
yeah.
what's to come. Okay, I love it. Um, so you write copious notes, you
Mhm.
draw, these pictures, and you dream up this universe for this person. What did you do to prepare?
That like I'm I'm very big on like going for walks and stuff like that, and I get embarrassed that people are going to perceive me as going on a walk. So what I tend to do is act like I'm on the phone, and so I'll just put in my headphones and I'll walk around and have a conversation with whoever I feel like the person would be as Erin to make sure I
You don't
talk
like
around
going to
everything.
walks. Like you're self conscious about going for a
I'm
walk.
self-conscious about
It's okay to go
everything.
for walks. It's okay to do it.
Is it? It's okay when Erin does, so then it's
Okay.
fine. So that's like a really, for me, it's a really effective way to prepare because you vocalize all of it. And with the last studio I've been with, it's very into vocalizing everything and picturing everything and looking up images of where the location is taking place, what her parents looked like. And I loved her house because it was like the first thing I did when I walked in was like look at all the different things and be like, okay, real quick, that one was from her dad, that's from grandma, she got this from this thing, just so I had some sort of a connection to the things around me that wasn't necessarily something that I'd been able to create ahead of time because I hadn't seen it.
Yep.
Things like that.
Yep. You have a very unique acting style, I will say. You watching tapes and watching dailies, uh, you say every bit of dialogue verbatim.
Yeah.
There's no improvisation.
Yeah.
It's to the letter, the commas and the periods and everything. Now you bring a ton of additional things, you know, awkward movements and little ticks and so
Yeah.
forth. Is that a security blanket for you, being like, I'm not going to improvise a single word?
I love getting my words given to me. If I don't know the proper terminology of that, it just that makes me so outrageously happy. And I have a lot of respect for writers in general to have created that. And if somebody were to come up and say, "Yeah, we're looking for some sort of like an improvisation into it," then I'll spend more time chatting around it outside of it. Be like, what's leading to each of these sentences, so that I can easily kind of flip in between and like change it up a little bit. But especially for Aaron's little monologue, I liked how it was written so much that I'm like, if I can create enough in my head to what the thought process is through this, it's not that it doesn't get stale, even though you do have the word for word because you're still experiencing what's going on in your head. And those experiences are then leading to each word that's already written in the script, if
Yeah,
that makes any
it's
sense.
really it was really something to behold watching it when we were editing it. It was just like you would, look, as a writer, you write stuff, you're like, I don't know if this is done. This is a fucking rough draft. And have someone come in and then find something in every like comma in every beat, and to drop a tear and to drop a little tick. It's really something to behold. I was very impressed with that. So what else are you working on?
Staying in the realm of and saying this in the utmost best possible way, really weird, oddball, independent, horror thriller
Hell yeah.
related things.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my little sweet spot and what I like to watch and what I like to do because there's so many opportunities in it and I feel like there's a lot of room to play in
Yeah.
it. So
What do you like to watch? What are you consuming? I know
I like
anime is a big piece of it, but
anime
like,
is a big piece of it. Yeah, there's a lot of anime. That's what I'm watching right now. But I also like to watch a lot of like weird. That's the key word here. Like surrealist films and stuff like that. Like my favorite movie to repeat watch is like Risk Cutters, a love story. Number one, it's so good. And then we always got to watch Amelie. They're all like I like rewatching things. I'm not the best at watching what's new. So
I can't watch what's new. I can't binge watch. I look at Netflix and then I go rewatch some like old thing.
yeah, I finally lost my parents. I was on their Netflix account. I got away with it for so long, and I got the little alert that's like, "Hey, you're not part of this household." I'm like, "Yeah, dang
We're
it."
cutting corners. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't use Netflix for us. So what else? What else? What else? What? So beyond horror, I've
Uh-huh.
seen some of the other work you've done in horror. I've seen the Burger King ad,
Yeah.
the very scary Burger King ad that you did. I saw a bit of this new horror that you I think shot a piece of. Um, in your dreams, are your dreams bigger than this? Bigger than horror? Is there a dramatic Oscar-winning role that you're dreaming about right now?
Maybe I just really like acting. That's really what it comes down to. It's the one thing that makes me really, really happy. And also, I love enough that I'm okay with monetizing it, if that makes sense. Like, I obviously I like to draw, I like to write and stuff like that, but I don't want to do that in a way that's gonna like that I would then feel obligated to keep doing it. Acting, I want to do forever.
Do you want to write a screenplay of your own and produce and direct your own film, or do you like I'm an actor?
Yeah, straight up with the acting thing, but I like working repetitively again with people. I think it's really fun to find like a group like, and just to keep making things together. I do have a friend that's really great with that kind of thing, and we've been writing stuff together. And I like giving feedback, and I like to think I take like the brain isn't always going at 100. So if somebody's working in like more of an art house field, I can watch something back and be like, hey, great. Yeah, it's beautiful. I don't get it. And as long as that's cool, we're good. And go from there. And if like that's not what we're going for, then people will go back and be like, okay, let's see if we can make this slightly more tangible to the everyman.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming out.
Anytime. Thanks for having me.
Yep. Cool.
Fuck me.